Good afternoon and early evening to you as well. We're going to be travelling into International Drive. That's the main part at the top end here. This is all Universal Blvd area, and we just come away from the side of Sandlake Road. We're going to go back into Sandlake Road, so we're going to have a little bit of a quick round tour just round this top section here. Anybody looking for any rides thinking they are only on International Drive, they used to be. You'll now find them on other areas, especially Universal Blvd. Have a different number. I think, is that the green lines for Universal Blvd areas? Up there you see the old Westgate Towers. Now I'm sure that someone somewhere said that they belong to Richard Branson. I think I've got my facts almost right. I'm sure it's someone. I'm sure it's Richard Branson owns those. I don't know. He might have not at one time, and he does now, or he used to and he doesn't now. It's one of those things. He's going to cross the road now and head up to the towers. So there's not a great deal along this particular strip here. That's all over to the left side of us. And we're getting a better look of the actual towers now as we come. The two lots of two. They used to be a sort of a garish pinkish sort of colour some while ago, which I don't think, this looks a lot nicer. This looks much nicer now. They've been around, they've certainly been around since the time I first came along here anyway. They've been here for some while, so little mini skyscrapers. There's someone with his load hanging out the back. Can you see that? He's got the load hanging out the back of his truck there. He's going to drop that in a minute. All this pile of bits of tree and everything. Still a very busy road this will lead you, if you carry on here, you kind of cross over International Drive and come into eventually into the Universal Studios areas. You're just looking over the side there, you see the Midway there, Magical Midway. These are huge towers, they are huge towers. So if you do happen to stay here, you're not that far away from walking to International Drive. You're not. It's about an 1/8 of a mile just down the way there. Very easy to walk. I'm going to be doing a bigger walk than this within this short time anyway. Bike routes. There we go. So that's Carrier Drive there. Or we're crossing Carrier Drive, should I actually say. Carrier Drive, that's not the direction we're coming into. It's kind of like it's as if it's on the side of a building, if that makes sense to you. Therefore that is the name of the actual road. So we've just crossed Carrier Drive now, still continuing up Universal Blvd. See these little estates, there's one here, there's white with the orange top on there. They're usually to mark something underneath there, like electricity, various different things. This is the side of the old Wet and Wild onto the left here. It's no longer, sadly. Universal Studios have taken it over and they're putting hotels here. I say sadly, they've also, at the same time, Universal Studios are building an even better park in their areas just further up there. Is that called Volcano Bay, I believe? Volcano Bay. And I think you can just see the top of the peak of the little mountain there in Volcano Bay itself. These hotels up here, these are all part of the new Universal Studios hotels. And one of the buses there going to Universal Resort. These are the biggest competitors to Walt Disney World in the area, and they're getting bigger all the time. I doubt they're going to be as big as Walt Disney World, but they are a good competitor all the same. You get a countdown on these, so I mean, really, I think you're not supposed to. I suppose you can cross actually, but you're not supposed to cross. I think once that hand comes up, it just gives you a time to cross really. But I think if you know that you can cross within that time before it gets to 0, then you know there's not going to be any traffic coming out at you. And have another little look at these hotels to the side here. They're colourful. So I suppose you would just call these off-site hotels. They belong to Universal, but it's going to look quite nice once all these trees start to take hold. So yes, all this section over to the left here was all part of Wet and Wild. And this section to the right here was the car park to Wet and Wild. So although they've taken the space here for a water park, they've actually produced a brand new one, bigger and I guess a lot better. So here we go, here's a familiar site there. The Sheraton Towers, Sheraton 4 Points. When I first came, it wasn't called the Sheraton, it was actually called Universal, I guess Universal Towers. There was a big Universal sign around the top there, so I assumed that it belonged to Universal Studios, as it's so damn close to it, but it probably wasn't, I don't know, so they probably called it Universal because it was by Universal. And also just roughly where that blue top building, which is the IHOP, roughly about there was where you used to have the Skull Kingdom. Anybody remember that one? The Skull Kingdom? It was one of these walk round attractions that scared the living daylights out of you with live actors, and at night time they used to have a good show there, which was a magic show, which was quite good, if you ever got a chance to see that. So I'm now coming down International Drive now. We've now come into International Drive. Just turn the corner here. And coming away from Universal Boulevard. Walgreens. There's lots of Walgreens along here. 24-hour pharmacies or food or whatever in there. So it's good to know. And a peek through the gates. To the left of me, in the Universal Studios new hotels. This is one that's appears to be open to the public now. Understand the pricing is really good as well. I'll have to check that out. Still heading further down International Drive. There's your gift shops. They've been there for some while. The KFC, these have been there for quite a while. Certainly ever since I first come. So there's a lot of it has changed, a lot of it hasn't. This section has. This is probably the biggest change to International Drive over the past few years. I did used to like seeing all those little slopes and water slides and everything as you walk past. So there's something quite nice about that. I probably stayed at quite a few of these hotels, especially some on that side. They used to have, was it the Holiday Inn Express? It was a small one, but it was one of the nicest that I'd actually gone to. That's it there with a little top on there. I believe that's, yeah, I think it is. I'm sure is that the side of the old Holiday Inn Express? Somehow I think you can buy an ice cream here. This is where I think you can also get your fish and chips. There's what they call an English bar along here, the British pub. And just take a look down the side here so you get an overall view of these hotels. These aren't the only hotels that Universal has. They have, what is it, Portofino Bay Hotel and one of the other. There's quite a few up the side there. So it's certainly changed the landscaping at this point anyway. The rest of it is pretty much unchanged. This has been here quite a number of years. The Magical Midway is, I think it's called, at least I call it that. I'm sure it's called the Magical Midway. And you've got a lot of these tower type rides. The slingshot here. You've got one of those down in Kissimmee. And the Starfly, there's a Starfly there, and there's an even bigger one further down in the 360 area. And this all comes alive at night time as well. Looking very different, all lit up, all the different colours. I suppose this is like what you might call sort of like a mini mall area. Lots and lots of tiny little shops, gift shops, restaurants. This is always a great alternative to the theme parks. It's a great place to stay. There are so many hotels along this strip, and they're going to be a lot less in prices than you'll be paying at the major theme parks. A lot of them will also have free bus transportation or shuttle transportation that will get you to and from the parks. And you've got everything here. Prices are good. As I say, you've got restaurants here. You've got all the restaurants you can imagine along here. Fast food takeaways. ice cream parlours, surrounding water parks. As I look up the strip towards the Universal Boulevard area. Now we're going to take a walk along some of Sandlake Road, this direction, which will more or less take me back to where I started in the first place, to the Crowne Plaza Hotel. You'll probably see in the background as we approach it. There's Popeyes there. That was there when I first came here. Perkins as well, with a big gigantic flag that we just passed. And Fishbones. Doing a lot of roadworks at the moment, so I'm sure it'd be really nice once they've done it. Sun is slowly starting to set. It's going to be a beautiful evening though. I think signage is very, very important. It just adds to the whole overall look, doesn't it, to things. All creates some magic of its own, doesn't it? Palm trees. So that's it for the day. Hope you've enjoyed the brief tour of International Drive, Universal Boulevard, Sandlake Road. Do check out my channel because I have more, especially from International Drive, and I think I've got another one from Universal Boulevard at the bottom end. Tons of International Drive, both day and night. Thanks very much for watching. See you all again very soon on YouTube. Cheers.